What if I told you there's a manufacturing company serving SpaceX, Airbus, and Boeing that has explicitly decided not to be the cheapest option in their market? Their president calls it a filter. In the last couple of years, best years in company history. They're putting up a new building because they're busting out of the old one. Today, I'm sitting down with Wilson Simons to talk about what a lot of business leaders get completely wrong about pricing, people, and growth. Hope you enjoy it. All right. Welcome to Untold, the best kept secrets of Utah. Today, we're featuring Specialized Manufacturing, a company that's grown from a basement operation to making parts for SpaceX, a company that posts their on-time delivery metrics on LinkedIn and is openly embracing not being the cheapest option on the market. Wilson Simons is the president of Specialized Manufacturing. Welcome, Wilson. Glad to have you
Hey,
here today.
thanks. Hey, thanks, John. I'm glad to be here. Appreciate your time.
Awesome. Hey, for somebody who hasn't had a chance to look at your website yet, give us a elevator speech kind of version of what Specialized Manufacturing makes and who they make it for.
Yeah, thank you. So, specialized manufacturing, our bread and butter is cable harnesses for the aerospace industry. So, we feed into Airbus, Boeing, SpaceX, Lockheed Martin, all the big players, all the big primes out there. We target those companies who are looking for cables, electrical cables that we put into airplanes. Now, part of that requires that some cables or some parts that we build need breakout boxes or machined parts or welded parts, and we have that capability in our shop as well. So we have a full-sided cable division and also a full powered metal division where we can do kind of best of both worlds. And to your point, we are not the cheapest, but there's a reason. We hold ourselves to high standards and we create the best work possible for the market that we're targeting.
Great. Personally, I'm really glad to hear that we don't have wireless airplanes yet.
Yes.
There's something about being connected that
Yes.
reassures me somehow.
Me too. When they go wireless, I don't know if I will be traveling much. So I don't trust that technology quite yet. So
Hmm. I did a little bit of LinkedIn stalking on you. You'll find
as you
out today.
should.
So, one of the things you wrote kind of fascinated me. You wrote that what sets Specialized apart isn't speed or quality; it's the people, transparent, accountable, and driven people. I'm curious. Everybody wants those kinds of people. I'm wondering though, which of those three things, transparent, accountable, and driven, is the hardest to hire for?
Well, I think the hardest one to train would be or to instill is to great question. I would say the hardest one to instill is the drive. We can help people become accountable and teach them some of the skills to get them to that point. But the drive is something internal that no matter how often they hear from the leadership team of how stoked they are or, the goals and all the things they're trying to do, the drive comes from yourself, your heart, your willingness to want to make a better life for yourself. And that starts by getting up every day with the determination to do something different, to work harder, to achieve a short-term goal, to achieve a long-term goal. That's been the most difficult thing for me to instill with anyone that's come here. Now it's possible, and some people pick it up and they run like wildfire with it. But for some people, it's just not there, and it's been difficult to have someone jump on board and get psyched about what we're trying to do here if they don't have that internal push already.
Okay. So you can train the other two, but yeah, I really got to look for the drive. Hey, when we first met, you said something really interesting to me, about that you have some entry level employees, some folks that some entry level jobs that you hire for, and there's some turnover that comes with that entry level work.
Of course.
Um, but you mentioned that you want to have a lasting impact on those employees. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So we we hire about 80 or 90% of our new employees at entry level. So it is a big chunk of our hiring practices. And um, the goal for me, as I've been here for quite a few years now, is that anyone who walks in the door, whether they stay here for 2 days and they fizzle out and leave, or if they stay here for 10 years, that they are better human, that their resume is stronger, and that they feel more complete and whole to be able to continue on to their career path. That's something that's very important to me. That specialized manufacturing is great and we love what we do and we think it's really cool. But honestly, for me, one of the biggest and most rewarding parts of my job is hiring someone who maybe needs a second chance, and them coming in here and working for a year and all of a sudden they're having management opportunities and these opportunities that they haven't had anywhere else, and they start to believe in themselves and they start to hold themselves more accountable, um, and it proves to themselves that they can do hard things and that they can work through hard things, and that starts to, on a personal level for them, you start to see things line up in their own lives to help their life become less chaotic in some cases, or more stable. And that's one of the most rewarding things here. I love hitting goals. I love setting lofty goals and pushing my sales team, pushing the production team, but seeing the change in humans is the most rewarding
Mm,
thing I've done here, hands down.
that's great. Hey, I'm curious, which came first? Did you did you believe that and now you've accumulated evidence that that's true, or did you see it and it made you believe it?
I would say I saw it and then I believed it. I would say when I started working up the ranks at Specialized, there was a different culture at that point, and not a bad culture. It was just different. It was more of, hey, we hit our goals and we treat employees well, right? But it was more business focused, which was great. And again, we grew, we kept growing. But when we started to kind of flip the script and focus on company culture and our employees and their lives and taking an interest in their lives and how we can improve that, not just by, hey, here's a bigger raise and here's more money, but it's, hey, here's a way that you can become more accountable. That's when we really start to realize, hey, we can make a difference in people's lives. And that feels really, really good. Now on the other side, and I know there'll be people who hear that and say, well, yeah, you're taking care of people and eventually they take care of you and that helps both sides. Yes, that is true. And I totally understand that. But I don't do one because of the other. I help people and that does help the company. That's a natural consequence of it. It really is. And the last 2 years have been the best years in the company's history. And we continue to grow and we're moving on to a new building because we can't fit in this one, because we're holding on to employees and they want to be here. They want to be a part of what we're doing. And it starts with treating employees like they're humans and that we care deeply about them, because we do. We want them to do well and we want them to feel fulfilled and challenged and feel successful.
Mm, that's cool. Yeah. Um, I'm wondering how that the connection between what you just described and a practice that you seem to have picked up. That I can't say I've seen this before from anybody, but I see on LinkedIn that you post quarterly. You post a set of metrics in public, things like on time delivery, and things like that. Where did that come from? What are you trying to do there?
Um, I I love what transparency does to me as a husband, as a father, as a president of a company. Transparency lays out our dirty laundry and sometimes it's really clean, right? Like sometimes our metrics are awesome and I feel really proud. But if I was only posting those good months, good years, I mean, what does that say about the other ones? I'm not being honest to myself. I don't feel great about myself if I'm only posting once a year on our best quarter. It's something that drives me to want to be better after I've physically hit submit post and it's bad numbers, right? That physically like hurts me, right? And so posting it instills that drive into me for the next quarter to push even harder to make those numbers so that anyone who sees realizes, hey, Specialized owns the bad months, the bad quarters, the bad years, but they're looking forward and they're doing what it's going to take to turn the ship around and make it so we're a force to be reckoned with. So
Hmm.
really the reason I do that is because, and maybe it's just personal, but it's personal to me because I want everyone to know that we are transparent with what we do here. We have nothing to hide. We are strong and sometimes we fall, but we get up and we're even stronger.
It's interesting you mentioned like that you can kind of train people in accountability, and I'm curious, like that's a pretty strong example. Um, to post things like that publicly.
Yeah,
And
and we
people
we
notice.
have we have monthly meetings that um where we talk very openly about how the month was. And I'm just not an ego guy. And so I have no problem saying, this is where I fell short, or this is the communication that I could have done better to help the team here where we failed. And this is in front of 90 people, right? 90 people who look to me as their president. I want people to see from the top down, from me to my executive team, that we take the buck and we do what needs to be done. And if it's our fault, we go straight into it. We don't mess around. And that really is what instills it in everybody else.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, another thing that you have been putting out on LinkedIn is, and you mentioned earlier, is that you guys aren't the cheapest producer in town. Um, when was the first time you said that directly to a customer, not just
Ugh.
posted about it?
Yeah, I mean that's a scary take to have to a customer. Um, Especially a customer like a Boeing or like an Airbus, where they've got budgets that they've got to meet with the government or with the military, right? And so, me as this young guy saying, "Hey, we're not the cheapest, but our product's really good," like that sales pitch means nothing if the company behind me and the people behind me don't have my back and the product doesn't speak for itself. Now, I don't specifically remember the first time I said it, but I know that I've lost a lot of customers initially to that sentence,
Hmm.
but a fair amount of those customers who I lost initially have come back and ordered that same part number or that same line from us again, saying, "Hey, we went to the next cheapest guy and he sold us the fact that he's really cheap. The product, we got it in-house, we tested it, it didn't work. It's not going to work for our end product or end customer. We need to come back to you. We need to pay that full price. We know what we're getting. We know that if there's a problem, we'll jump all over it and we will make it right, whatever it is." Now, I know the customer service aspect is a little bit different from what we do because we build custom hardware. And so there's not necessarily a support team after, but
Hmm.
the um, the fact that we are more expensive is something that I'm proud of. I'm proud of because we are more expensive, not because we're trying to fill our pockets, but because it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of good people to build good product. And I still need my sales team to fully get on board with that comment because that scares a lot of people away. But the customers that we want aren't afraid of paying more because they know what it takes to build good product.
The customers we want. Yeah, that's an interesting distinction. Like,
It
so
is.
you've lost So you're almost filtering certain people because of that stance, and that's okay. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When I became president, um, there were some customers that we had to let go that were legacy customers that we had been holding on to because of their time with us or tenure with us, but we couldn't keep them and continue the growth and to meet the goals and to be able to support our staff while keeping them on our customer list. And so it was sad. It was a tough breakup, but those are not the customers that we want because those are not the customers that support the goals that we have for our team and for our organization.
So you described a little bit personally what that was a scary proposition to start to embrace that line. What impact, since you've done that, what impact have you seen around you with you and your team? You mentioned sales. That's predictable. They don't like
Yeah.
it as much, but what about the rest of
Right.
the team?
Well, typically some of those legacy accounts were not the Airbus or Boeing customers that we're talking about, right? They're the um, the guy down the street who's got a side hustle in his garage that when we started doing these cables for him. Those are always the customers that are the most difficult to service. They're the ones changing designs all the time. When on the other side, we've got products that are on the F-35 or the 737, the Boeing 737s, right? Those are drawings and specs that have been locked in for years and years and years. So my team, my production team, my quality team, they look and say, okay, we can either build 1,000 of these that the product will never change, or we could build 10 of these every couple months. And every time we look at it, the drawing changes or there's some kind of variation. So my team looks at me and says, wow, we'll take the Boeing stuff all the time. And we appreciate that we don't have to have the headache of Mr. Side Gig over here, which is awesome. And I'm sure he's doing something great, but that's a headache and that's going to be a headache forever. And so they feel like as I filter good customers into them, they feel like they're being taken care of and their complaints or their headaches are being taken away because of what we actually allow into our shop.
Hmm. Okay. So it's created some alignment. It sounds like that
It has.
maybe wasn't
Yeah,
there before. Different
definitely.
conversation. Huh. Um, yeah. So thinking long term, I'm wondering about what you're building here, right? As you think forward, what's one thing about how Specialized treats its people that you want to be true long after you're gone?
Well, is your question what you're asking? What I want people to think of Specialized or what want people to think of Wilson?
Ooh, how about let's start with Specialized.
Okay. I hope that people 10, 15, 20 years after they've left Specialized feel like it was really a diving board to the rest of their life and career. That they felt like they were better because they clocked in day one. And that not necessarily that they longed to come back and work for us, but that it was a starting point to a change in their life. And not that we're taking people from the prison and start we're not working with bad people, right? I'm just saying I want people to feel like they are better because of Specialized and the skills, the personal skills, the communication skills, the working in team skills, that helps them with their next gig. They go to Chick-fil-A or they go to Shields or if they go work at Microsoft, that they can go back and say, I learned this skill at Specialized Manufacturing and I'm grateful that I worked there. I'm grateful that I spent 2 years there and I don't regret it one bit. So that's kind of what I want people to feel when they look in the rearview mirror and see Specialized.
Hmm. So I'm not going to let you off the hook personally. So the people who work with you day in, day out, like what would you want people to say about their experience working with you?
I would hope that everyone felt like I gave them a fair shot. I gave them a fair shot to succeed, to manage, to grow, and climb the ladder here. I don't particularly care about where someone went to college or what degree they got. I'm looking for people who are willing to buy in, work as a team, help the guy next to him, and improve the culture of the company. So I hope that people feel and know that I did that for them, that I gave them the keys to grow and gave them the keys to climb the ladder. Um, and I also hope that my executive team feels like I have given them the freedom to try new things and to kind of have the handcuffs off and say, hey, if this works, let's run with it. And sometimes that doesn't really happen on high level teams, but I've hired the right people for the jobs and now I just expect them to run with it. And 99% of the time that works out great. And that is part of the legacy, I hope, is that people feel like I had their back, that I gave them the freedom to use the skills that they came with, and that I gave them a chance to succeed.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so like when we put these two conversations together, right? We're talking about okay, you're not the cheapest in the market, but you perform at a different level, or you perform on other dimensions that maybe other companies don't. But to do that requires a different relationship with your employees, right? That's more about culture. It's kind of a more of a different contract with your employees than maybe some companies have. Um, I'm wondering if as you've kind of been building this culture, is there a time that that really came under pressure? That maybe that opportunity, was really big that you had to turn down because it didn't fit, or a really tough decision that the P&L was pushing you in a direction that felt uncomfortable or not aligned with what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take the example right now. We're in a growth period that is unprecedented for us. We are year to date 50% over what we were year to date last year. It's just growth that we could not anticipate. We don't know how to completely handle it. Right now, I could turn on overtime for my team and run them dry for the next 8 weeks. I really could. And which is great. Like on the business side of things, that is business health. That's job security for us. That we have people knocking on our doors looking for us, writing basically blank checks for us saying, we want your product. We just need it really, really fast. I, and not that I don't run overtime because I do, and there's a time and a place for that. But I understand that Wilson Simons wants to be home with his family because that equalizes me out and that balances my life out. So if that's true for Wilson Simons, the president of the company, why wouldn't it be true for the guy who started last week making $15 an hour, right? He wants to be home. He wants to be maybe with his kids or on the couch watching TV because that balances him out and that helps him understand that there's a balance in all things with work and personally and with family, all of these things. And so I'm looking from all of my screens and everything I can see with the P&L. It's like, yeah, I could go and generate 500,000 of extra dollars each month for our team, which would be great for our company. But at what expense? Do I want to burn all these people out? Is that the culture that I want? This grind culture that it seems to be so popular right now? I'm not about it. I'm not about to do that and put my people in a place where, hey, if you don't work overtime, you're showing to me that you don't care or that you don't want to be part of this. So that's kind of the balance I'm at right now where part of me is like, let's run. Let's make this thing happen now. But then the other side of me that I feel like I've listened to more and has helped the company grow more. It's like, hey, you got to treat your people right and grinding them to the bone. That's
Mhm.
not good. I wouldn't want that. I don't expect that of myself. I can't expect that of anyone else here.
Mm, well said. Um, I mean, growth is awesome, but it also comes with challenges. I'm wondering if you've thought about, so if you have another 50% on top of the 50% you've seen,
Yeah,
what do you think that commitment might ask of you that it doesn't, or it hasn't asked from you yet?
sure. That's a great question. That sounds like a question my wife would ask me. Because yeah, I mean it's a tricky one to answer because this growth we're not used to, right? And it means that we're adding executives and we're adding high level people. We're also adding production people. We're adding quality. We're adding drivers and shipping people. Across the board, we need more people. And so trying to figure out what that requires of me specifically, I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't. I take it day by day. I trust the people that I surround myself with. I only hire what I feel like is the best person for the job. And then I let them run and take care of their little pie of this company. And it seems to be working out. When I trust people to do the job that I've hired them for, that makes my life easier. And I'll continue to hire. As the company gets bigger, I'll continue to hire and hire and hire. And as long as I'm taking the time to hire the right people and take care of them, they will always take care of me and they always have taken care of me. And that is how I will manage the growth. And I'm not saying there's no growing pains beyond that because there is and there will be. But as long as I've got the people in my back pocket helping me, I feel like I can move mountains.
Okay. Mm, that's great. Yeah, so remind me, so you came into the company about 2014? Did I get
Yeah.
that right?
2014. Yeah.
2014. You've described some ways that you've changed, and things you've learned. I'm wondering, is there something that you believed about, like being the president when you were 25, that you don't believe now that you are the president?
That's a great question. I thought it would be a lot easier to make the higher level decisions, right? I thought I'd have all this knowledge and this experience, and it would be really easy to make these decisions on should we go get that next machine or should I go and hire this executive? That, if I ever get to be a president, like all of that will be easy and the money portion of it will be easy and there will be less stress. None of that is true. None of that is true. There's just the stress is different. It's heavier. The making those decisions still requires asking the people around me and observing and gaining knowledge so that I can accomplish what I need to do. And so it was probably me just being naive and thinking, man, the president who sits up there, that's a pretty good gig, pretty good gig. Um, and it is, and I love it. I really do love my job, but it is hard. It is difficult and it requires a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of effort and a lot of thought, which to some people may feel like not a lot is getting done. But I spend so much time thinking about what needs to be done and the best way to navigate the company in a way that I never thought I'd have to.
Hmm.
2014, the day I started here.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, well, we're coming up on time. I'd like to wrap up with one more question. Um, when you think about 10 years from now, if you've been really successful as the leader of specialized manufacturing, what's true about your leadership team?
I would say my leadership team, if we're successful in 10 years, that they've done what they've promised they were going to do. and that they have been given the opportunity and the freedom to try and to fail and for that to be okay and to try again and succeed. And also, the way I see the executive team is the same 8 people that I have here plus 4 new additional people. If I've lost any of my executives, that would hurt. That would feel that would be tough. Now I would be happy for them, of course, but part of me being successful and seeing the success of my team is that the 8 people that I'm working with right now, that they feel like they want to attach themselves to Specialized for the next 10 years because of what it'll do for them financially, of course, but also because they believe in what we're doing.
Great. Thank you for that thoughtful answer and all the thoughtful answers that you've
Yeah,
given today.
sure.
This has been really great. One of those kind of episodes that I wish we had another 45 minutes
But
to
yeah,
chat.
no,
So I
I
really
understand.
appreciate your time and thought today. Thank you for making time with me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the opportunity, and I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll have a part 2 at some point. Who knows? The next season,
Yeah,
we'll do a part 2 or something.
I would love it. Yeah, I did. I already did a repeat this season of somebody who,
Okay. Okay.
so you're on. We can make a
There
date.
you go. Sign me
All
up.
right. Thanks a lot, Wilson.
All right. Thanks, John.